Welcome to the Gadd Health Podcast, real talk and women's wellness. Today I am joined by our very own Kerry Anderson, who is one of our in-house yoga teachers. Welcome, Kerry.
Lovely to be here.
For anyone that doesn't know you yet, tell the listeners how you do what you do and what got you to this point.
So I am a yoga teacher. Yoga for me it's really about connecting with myself. So through yoga, I created a little haven for myself, a little space where I could understand myself better. You know, yoga is a physical practice where you're using your body, and you feel this as you do the physical practice, how your mind is released as well. So every time I'm teaching yoga, I'm thinking about how it's an all-encompassing practice. It's not just the physical, it's the mental, it's the emotional, it's the spiritual. It's just a fully encompassing practice to me. So when I'm teaching, I like that to be reflected in it.
Yeah. And what got you to that point? Like, how long ago did you start yoga? Why did you start yoga? Obviously, were you doing yoga before you were a yoga teacher? Like, how did that all lead to you kind of being sat here at Gadd?
Yeah, what a journey.
As always it is.
So I started yoga, it would be about 10, 11 years ago now. I was actually going through a bit of a heartbreak.
Same as my story into fitness.
Yeah, it happened, and it wasn't like, when I think back to like who the heartbreak was with,
it wasn't really heartbreak,
girl. But yeah, it was like a bit of heartbreak going on, and I lived in Edinburgh at the time, and I just decided to go to this yoga class, and it was in this really lovely gym. And the first yoga class I went to, we were doing handstands, and I, honest to God, like I just laughed so much because I had no idea how to be upside down, and there was a lot of yogis there who had been doing this for years. We're going into it easily, and I was just laughing because I was so clueless.
But do you think that was like part of what you were brought to that session for, was the laughter, not to do yoga? Maybe in that case, you know, if you're going through a heartbreak, you're sad, you're probably not laughing very much, so, and you almost have to like not take yourself serious because you just can't handstand, and you're like, what am I doing, like, why am I here? But that's all the challenge almost in that moment. Maybe
that is exactly what I needed, and I was really proud of myself. I remember leaving and being proud of myself because I didn't feel embarrassed that I was so bad. I was just literally like, that was actually so funny, and I'm probably never going to see those people again. You know, like, someone was holding my legs up, and I was just like, are my legs up? I don't know.
Trying not to kick them in the face.
It was so bad. But I remember just thinking, like, I am so happy that I can laugh about this.
Yeah.
And not feel like, you know, embarrassed or anything. And honestly, from that first class, and the girl was called Amy Hughes, she was the teacher, and I recently did an online class with her because she's in Edinburgh.
Interesting.
And I told her this, I was like, your yoga impacted me so much
more than had it have just went well and not been handstands.
Exactly. But like every one of her classes, so I would go to her classes all the time.
So you did go back?
Oh yeah, I went back to her
and seeing the people that were holding your legs, even though you thought, I'll never see them again, it's fine.
I don't know, I'd blocked them out. I was like, I don't know who it was. But yeah, I went back to her classes, and there was other classes at that gym, and I just honestly, like, it completely changed my life. It changed my trajectory completely as well, because it was during the time I was kind of at uni, like, you know, partying, you know, the whole story.
And especially partying to yoga are quite two different spectrums.
Contrasting, for sure. So that just opened up this whole spiritual realm, and that girl Amy, she wove in so much spirituality. She used to tell stories, like yogic with yogic principles and really deep meaning behind the story. She used to sing at the end of class. She just did so much, and there were so many classes where her and other teachers that I would feel really like emotional in it.
Yeah.
Or I would just feel really happy, or I'd feel all these feelings, and I was like, whoa, okay, something's going on here.
The preferred style that you still prefer to attend is those spiritual classes?
Yeah. For me, I really like the spiritual aspect. For me, it's something really important in a yoga class. I completely understand people who are doing it more for the physical, and there's a space for that too. Because you can reach a spiritual place through simply physical. It could be completely silent the whole class. It could be really meditative. You could get so much out of it. For me, I like kind of the words. I really like words.
And that's what I was just about to say to you before I got on the podcast, and then I was like, do you know what, I'll just come to it and it'll make more sense. Was we were looking for a new yoga teacher, and I had put up just a question box asking, and lots of people were dropping names in, or people were like, oh, I'm available. And it's so interesting like how that obviously all works out the way it's supposed to, people not replying or saying they will and whatnot. And Monica, who is the kinesiologist and massage therapist that works here, she was like, she dropped her name in. I had already been following you on my personal page for maybe only a week, and I was like, I love her stuff, but you hadn't been following Gadd, so you didn't see our post about looking at a yoga teacher.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see it, no.
So I had just sat on it probably for a week. We had met a couple of different people and whatnot, and I had said to Ben, I was like, I would really like Kerry to come on board, because each of the teachers that we have here for any of our basically soul sessions, so our recovery style classes, are different, and I like that. I like that someone has the opportunity to go to a class that is maybe quite silent, or a class where it's quite meditative, and then also a class where it's maybe spiritual. So for me, I am quite spiritual, or I at least was, and I would like to shift back towards that maybe a little more. So by having you on board meant I had that opportunity to sit with myself once a week and be guided towards my spiritual self more. So I really liked adding you on to the team in that sense of clients have the choice of whatever kind of style of class they're going to. It's always still restorative, no handstands here. But it's still, it's the opportunity, and I'm sure you probably see return faces to your class regularly, and it's maybe just the people that are coming, maybe it just suits them better as in time and day, but maybe it's also that they would like to attend a more spiritual style class. So that is where you enjoyed, and therefore you've kind of brought that into your own practice with teaching as well then.
Yeah, I think that you can really tell through a teacher if they're being authentic in themselves, because teachers teach so vastly differently. And it's just finding a teacher who is giving you what you need at that moment, essentially. And sometimes you'll want to go to a class and not hear anyone talk. And it's not to say that your preference typically isn't the spiritual style class, but maybe just what your mind and body needs that day is stillness, silence, whatever. And that's the thing, it like will vary as the weeks, the months go on, especially as women. We're like, depending on where you are in your cycle, I will want completely different things. Do you find that comes into when you're planning your classes, that you maybe go more on what you need that week? Interesting question. Perhaps a little bit, but I do often think about sort of the moon. I suppose to be fair, it would also just be my energy at that time. It also depends on whether it's a morning class or a night class. I think there's a big contrast there, because the morning you want a little bit more energy. I do. Otherwise you're gonna fall back asleep. Exactly, because you're like sleeping at the end. And that's a really nice thing about the evening classes, is like, okay, I'm really winding down here to like go to sleep. But I think I really base it on the energy of the people when I come in. Because sometimes I'll come into a class and someone will be like, I'm just so exhausted this week. I'm like, right, let's just go super slow. If you notice that's mellow. The theme of all the other clients, but maybe you've got energy, and it could just be, again, maybe you're in ovulation right now and everyone else is feeling the effects of where Mercury is or whatever. You know, it's just like, it's going with the theme of the energy rather than always what you desire maybe in those moments. Because I always kind of have a plan of what I'm going to do, but I adapt it so much. In here, in Gadd especially, because it's just really... Because it's a small group as well, you can feel the people's energy a bit more. And it's also with the weather, you know, on a Saturday morning, when I was teaching on a Saturday and the sun's beaming, although it might be quite hot, but like the sun's beaming, you're like, okay, let's do something a bit more energetic, where it's like evening rain and you're like, let's get cozy, get the blankets going. And I've only been teaching in like summer, spring here, so it'll be interesting to see how winter is as
for
well.
sure. And I do notice, like, if I've done an evening class here, I'm like, I wish I just had a bed here and I didn't have to go home. Like, there is that real coziness, whereas, like, when you were teaching this Saturday afternoon, it was kind of like, okay, now I'm ready for my weekend. I'm recouped, but I'm energized, where I can enjoy my weekend versus feeling like I just want to sponge on the sofa because I've had like that time to kind of sit down, chill, unwind and rejuvenate, and then you can go again. On that of talking, like, the clients that are here, like, they might not be, so don't worry if that's not the case, but like, who would be your favorite kind of person or people to work with? Like, categorically, maybe is it someone that is like typically anxious in their body and about yoga, or is it people with lots of yoga experience? Like, I know for me, whenever I first became a personal trainer, loads of people were like, oh, are you going to train loads of people to do bodybuilding shows? Because that's how I became a personal trainer. And I was like, absolutely not. I love working with beginners. They have no bad habits. And therefore I can really help make big impact at the start of their journey. And that's how I've kind of continued on. I never prepped anyone for a photo shoot or a bodybuilding show or anything like that. So I love working with people that haven't really trained before or in a long time. How would that be for you?
I think, different people are going to get completely different things from a class. To me, it doesn't really matter if you're a beginner or advanced, because even for me, I'm a yoga teacher and I will go to a variety of different classes and get something out of all of them. Even a beginner's class, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I needed. Or if there's a more challenging class, if I'm in the right frame of mind, I'm like, yes, I love that. So for me, it's just someone who's open to experience something. And I love when people are like open to going a bit deeper in themselves. So whether that is sort of a mental thing,
physically either, that just
it doesn't have to be a physical thing. It's more about, I always say this in the yoga class, like, as you open your body, that's your mind opening, that's your heart opening as well. And there's some postures that when you go deeply into them, your mind starts to unravel as your body unravels, because your body is holding so much tension, maybe anxiety, worries, whatever it is, that you don't realize it's your body keeping it. That's why we're all like tense sometimes. Like, people have really tight hips, especially women have these tight hips because they're holding on to this energy, this stagnant energy. And the yoga, the physical practice, even if there's no words or anything, it's like that movement of energy. So I think it's just anyone who's open, because like in my yoga classes, I always give options of things. So it's like, you can get gradually more difficult in the posture if you want to, and it's all just
if
a
you're
choice.
Available to as well. Like,
exactly.
And just saying that choice, like, I always say to clients or anyone that's coming in to try yoga or anything, like, everything in yoga, in my opinion, and I often feel from the teachers, is it's an invitation. It's not an expectation. Like, I have gone to yoga in this building and lay still on the mat for 10 minutes while everyone else moved their body, because it felt safe to do that. I didn't feel like I was expected to continue moving when maybe it just didn't feel good for me at that time, and maybe I just needed to lie still for 10 minutes instead.
So many people said to me, like, this is like the most common response if I say, oh, you should come and do yoga. I'm too inflexible to do yoga. People always say that. And someone said to me once that being too inflexible to do yoga is like being too thirsty to drink water. Like, you need it more than anyone, because you're holding that tension in your body. So like, during the class, it's all just about listening to your own body. I can promise you, no yoga teacher is ever judging you.
No.
All we're doing is just wanting you to feel the best you possibly can
and feel comfortable during it as well. There's so many props available, and you do, like, you just go around and fix or assist or whatever you want to word it as, if someone looks like they're not comfortable, because I don't think the poses are necessarily supposed to be really hard. It's that kind of balance between effort and ease when it comes to yoga. I think that the props are there to help.
There's a misperception as well. Like, I find one of the hardest yoga practices to be yin, which is the really slow.
Holding.
You know, you're holding the postures for like 5 minutes plus. That holding of a posture, sitting with yourself in silence is super challenging.
Yeah.
So it's not just the handstands, which is also very challenging, by the way. But so there's so many layers to the difficulty of the practice as well.
Yeah, which kind of ties into what I have wrote of next is like, in your opinion, what does hold people back from trying yoga and or maybe just generally getting results? Like obviously here at Gadd we work with 4 pillars, and that's sleep, stress, training and nutrition. So for us, part of the reason why yoga is there is for the sleep and stress benefits, to unwind. It's our yin style of our logo being yin and yang. We've got the working hard, recovering harder, working out, working in, and it's like the yoga is there as a complementary to your strength training. Do you find that, you know, we done right in adding yoga to help people with results, but also do you think that in not doing yoga that holds them back?
I think sort of at the beginning of your question there, what holds people back is the fear, and there's a knowing that something might come up through the yoga. I think, you know, people are afraid in general with something new they've never tried before. A really normal thing, you're like, oh, resistance, and it's about moving into that resistance. Probably the same as with your classes as well. Like if people haven't been going to the gym regularly and they're suddenly starting, they're like terrified. It's the same as yoga, and once you know it's a spiritual mental thing, it's like, oh my god, I don't want to go into that cave.
Not ready yet.
See what's in there. But that's when you do decide to go into that cave, that's when you discover the most beautiful results. When you're actually, it's the vulnerability with yourself. You're also in a room with people, so there's a sense of vulnerability there too. And the yoga here is very restorative. It's slow moving, it's thoughtful, there's intention behind it, and that's scary for some people. But I think it's
even just getting them to slow down is the hard part. Exactly.
You know, we're so used to this overdrive, but I think the yoga is so important here. And Gadd, like, it's such a beautiful like contrast to the hard work that you do downstairs, and then you can go upstairs and just chill.
And our aim is as well, like, you know, the yoga here is kind of, I'm going to say this might not be truly correct, but 80% kind of floor work in most of the classes. You know, you're not doing a lot of standing postures, and it should be able to be complementary to the strength session, that it's not so hard that you could go from strength up to yoga. If you went to a non-restorative style yoga class, let's face it, you're probably not going to do that after a heavy strength session. You wouldn't really have much left in the tank. Your stability would be off, like all of those things. So for us, it is really about having that restorative style. And you're saying obviously about that going into the cave. If you were to have a magic wand for the listeners, what would be that one shift that you wish that they could take away from what you're talking about?
What would be the one magic thing?
Shift in their mindset. Doesn't need to be necessarily yoga perspective, like, but just generally, like, is it, you know, just sitting with yourself, like in meditation, being silent, being still, like, rather than necessarily the movement. It can be yoga or not yoga based, but just a magic wand of a shift in mindset.
I think the mindset shift for me would be to enjoy the spectrum of emotions that may come up through all of it. We're always trying to avoid the bad emotions, bad in inverted commas. You know, we're trying to avoid the sadness, we're trying to avoid the pain, but it's those painful experiences, the difficult things, that give depth to the good things as well.
I have gone to yoga and had anger come up, and like, I think that people never talk about that. You know, they're like, oh, but it's enjoyable and it's great and it's whatever, but like loads of women come down, they're like, is it normal for me to cry? And I'm like, yes. And I don't think anyone's came to me and said, is it normal for me to feel angry? But I have felt angry coming out of yoga before.
Oh, for sure. it's not meant to be easy all the time.
Yeah.
It's not going to be smooth, lovely, right? I think that is a real misperception of yoga. Like, it can be really irritating sometimes. Or it can just like completely break you. Sometimes I would go to do my own practice and I wouldn't even realize, and I would just start doing something. I'd just sit there and cry for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And be like, oh right, this is why I'm here.
And do you ever find that if you're emotionally off, as in you're angry or sad or whatever, that when you try and practice, that maybe like your balance and stuff's off? Like obviously you can come into like the masculine and feminine energies and stuff. Like, can you maybe stand on one leg and can't stand on the other, and you know you're already off balance before you come in to try and balance?
Definitely. But also I would kind of avoid, you know, it's bad because when I am feeling like really upset or when I need yoga the most, that's when I avoid it. And
that's just typical with everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, I know this will, well, it's about going into the cave.
Yeah.
Like, I know something's going to come up here. Don't know what it's going to be. I'm scared, so I won't do yoga, and then I can just feel myself like
so much tension,
like cement turning into stone, and I'm like, okay, right.
And how do you get yourself there in the end? Like, what does it take? A few days, hours? Does it take you to go to another class? Does it take you to teach that allows you to kind of shift gears and sit with it?
Yeah, it just depends on the time, like how rough I'm feeling. But you know, like everyone sort of avoids these good things sometimes. It's one of the most frustrating human things, I think. We avoid the things that are so good for us. Yeah. Even though we know that it's going to be so much better. Yeah,
on the other side of this thing, you know you're going to feel better. But Ben often refers to it as like being stuck in the muddy puddle. It's like sometimes you just want to be in the muddy puddle and you just want to feel crappy.
You feel sorry for yourself. Yeah. And that's okay. But yeah, sometimes it'll take me like a few days of saying I really need to do yoga, and then I'll do it and I'll be like, oh my, I feel so good now. I feel so much better. And I very rarely would not feel better after it in some way. But yeah, I would say my yoga practice, like my personal yoga practice, is very reflective of how I'm feeling at the time.
Yeah. And would you say that's like, that in itself is the thing that you wish people understood more, was like to do the thing, even though you don't really want to do the thing, and knowing that on the other side they will feel better?
Yeah, I mean, just do the thing.
Yeah.
And don't think that when you look at Instagram that everyone's always doing the thing, because it's not true.
And like the content you're sharing today might have been 2 years ago content that you're just like, I'm stuck in the muddy puddle right now, but I should really I'll post this. And no one knows like when that's from, what mood you're in, what's going on.
Yeah, like I've pulled back loads on posting on Instagram because I felt serious pressure of like, oh my god, I need to do this, it's really, I find that a real pressure.
Yeah.
And that kind of took away from my own yoga practice, because then I would be doing yoga and thinking I should be filming this.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
You're losing the joy in doing the thing
exactly
that you want to do by trying to, and people do say that, you know, Ben and I don't train half as much now that we own the business as what we did before we had the business, simply because when the thing that you had loads of joy from becomes your everyday, it's very hard to find as much joy from it for yourself. You know, you find joy in the teaching of the other people and sharing your passion with people, but when it comes to you in those moments, sometimes it's really hard to shift gears out of that business into self.
Yeah, totally. And like you were saying there about if I am kind of stuck or, you know, having a bad day or whatever, to go and teach a class really changes my mindset as well. Because it's something like, okay, I know I have to teach this class, and then I do it and it feels really nice for me as well. And I remember like, oh wow, this is what it's about. And
do you find, obviously, in sharing like the spiritual bits coming to teach that class, that you're almost like speaking to yourself with whatever you end up sharing? Yeah,
definitely. And sometimes I would sort of say a little bit at the start, I sort of have a theme of the class, and it's often something that's happened to me that week, or something that I'm struggling with, or just something that's coming up for people in general around me that I keep noticing. So hopefully those things resonate. Yeah. You know, it's just about finding some like resonance with the words or the practice, and you can get that in so many different ways.
And even if it's something that maybe doesn't resonate for that person right in the now, it might in future, or might be something that they'll take to someone else that says, I'm really struggling with my self-worth this week. And they're like, oh, well, Kerry said this week in yoga about blah, blah, blah. And they share that. Yeah. It's kind of like the each one reach one, it's always sharing the message through other people, which is really beautiful to, again, like, if your class was silent, you wouldn't be sharing those messages and it wouldn't travel through the other people. And it's not to say that you can't teach those silent and still classes, because they have their own time and place as well.
But even in the silent classes, maybe those words will come from within you.
Yeah.
And someone shared recently in one of the classes about like visions they had seen in the class. Very clear images of different things, and that's something coming from within them. Maybe I'd said a word that had like sort of
broad an association.
Yeah, exactly. But it's coming from within them. And that's the thing about yoga. Everything is coming from within the person who's practicing it. The outside is, whatever I'm saying or whatever the teacher's saying is beautiful and can really help. Yeah. But really, it's like catalyzing within the person.
Yeah. So it's kind of like big misconceptions around yoga is definitely the teacher has it all and has their shit together and that you don't need to be flexible. Or that you do need to be flexible, sorry.
Yeah.
They're probably your two biggest misconceptions you would find.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also you don't have to be super spiritual.
Yeah.
As well.
Because like you can take the thought of it being spiritual away. As in whatever you're saying still makes sense whether you're spiritual or not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just guidance. So yeah, that's kind of all that I have to ask. But when are you at Gadd? What are you available for at Gadd? And feel free to share if you're doing anything else right now with yoga.
Yes, so I teach Gadd on Thursday nights.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And I'm also available for 1-to-1s or 2-to-1s. So you can just reach out to you or me in that case. With yoga, I'm actually pulling back a lot with the classes I'm teaching to try and find that real resonance with myself again.
Find a wee spark.
Yes, and have a really authentic, true version of yoga in maybe less classes rather than teaching loads of classes that I was. So just finding that.
And I love that for you, rather than pouring 30% across 12 classes, bringing that down to 4 or 5, whatever, and pouring more of yourself into them. Yeah. Also feels more fulfilling for you. So well done.
Yeah. Thank you. It feels really good. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, and hopefully some of the listeners will have felt the courage to go and do some yoga.
Yeah, I hope so. Please come along.